Hey there, welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and, of course, the Eurostep Podcast Network. I am joined, as always, by my just fantastic co-host, Rohan Kadi. Rohan, how's it going?
I'm doing well after fantastic.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's very nice. Before we get into anything, make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening. Podcast platform of choice. YouTube, make sure you leave a 5-star rating. Podcast platform of choice. Leave a like on YouTube. Ty, we have some big announcements today.
We have a pair of huge announcements to make. Rohan, every time we talked about, hey, find us on YouTube, join the Discord. The merch store was easy, but a lot of the things that we talked about on air and we encouraged our listeners to check out, it wasn't easy, was it, Rohan? We had to say, hey, go to Rohan's Twitter bio and click the link. It sounds like spam you would see on TikTok or Instagram is honestly how it sounded. So we wanted to do something about that. So we did something about that.
We did do something about that. Ty, we have a website that we are launching, gspn.info. It is a place where you can find everything and all things Eurostep Podcast Network. You can find the links to the podcast themselves, the YouTube, our Substack, how to get into our Discord. What else am I missing?
We've got the merch store there, even though you can also
store.
just visit gspnstore.com. Substack, we add little bios about us, including our Twitter handles, the email to contact us. It's all right there, plus something new.
Yes.
Announcement part two.
Announcement part two. But gspn.info, it's a good website. It's where you can get everything. That is also where our new offseason game is located.
Yes.
So you and I, we made this little web app, this game, where you can sort of simulate the Bucks offseason. There's so many choices you can make. There's a lot of different paths. There's a couple hidden endings. It's fun. We had a bunch of fun putting it together. It is just an opportunity for everyone to go out there and sort of say, hey, what are you going to do if you were the Bucks GM this offseason? What are you going to do with Pat? What are you going to do with Bobby? What are you going to do with your taxpayer mid-level? Who are you going to draft? Are you going to keep your draft pick? It's all there. It's all there in that game, which is linked right in our website, gspn.info.
Yes, it's right up front at gspn.info. That is just as simple as it sounds. gspn.info. And then you are at the Eurostep Podcast Network website. And yeah, we've got the game. It is, I came up with the idea. I started it. Then Rohan made it actually good. It was originally going to live in Google Forms. It would have not been good. Now it's its own site. There's a very nice end screen. So I think we don't want to dive in too much today, although we will dive into one segment of it. That will make more sense in a minute. But the big takeaway is check out the website, check out the game. And once you complete it, and if you want to do a couple runs, once you get the lay of the land, that's fine. Once you get your desired offseason results, there's an end screen where we ask you screenshot that and share it with us on Twitter or in the Discord if you're in there, because we want to see, how people get through. We've showed just a few people already, and I think my favorite thing about it is seeing how different people have taken, different positions, especially on a couple of the questions. And I think it's just going to be a lot of fun to see, how folks feel. Because I think, you and I probably have our optimal paths that we take by now. I'm sure there's a lot of people who have very different paths. And I can't wait to see, some of the crazy offseason results people come up with.
For sure. Make sure you share those results with us. Check it out. Again, I will warn you, I'm not like a web developer or anything.
He's
so if there are any...
basically working at Facebook next week.
That's not true. But if there are any issues with it, let us know. Yeah. We will fix it as soon as possible. But yeah, this is just something that we wanted to do, and we made it happen.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. So again, shout out Rohan who programmed this thing up a bit for us. And yeah, we're excited. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know, should we try more of these? I don't know when the next one could possibly be, but at the very least next offseason. But if people really like it, maybe we'll come up. Maybe we could do historical.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would be fun.
Something to think about. Who knows what that would look like? But
if you have any other ideas for any other concepts, just let us know, because we can make it happen.
GSPN, baby. Brewers, Bucks, Video games? Whatever Adam and Jordan are working on. I don't even want to put a name to that and potentially reveal too much info, but that's going to be a new type of noun for us. Like new nouns of merch.
Oh, yeah.
Cars, maybe?
Question mark?
Cars?
Exclamation point?
Imagine if we roll out a car next year.
I think that'd be the least expected thing in the history of the universe.
Yeah,
can you think of anything more improbable than GSPN launching a car next year?
Your friendly neighborhood Milwaukee sports podcast and more network is just like, also we created a rival to the Camry.
Yeah, we just have this. We have a fully operational, just a facility where we're pumping out cars now.
Yeah. We've got, there's a long wait list. No, we're not going to do a car. I don't think. I won't rule it out. You never know, but never say never. But today, so the actual podcast, announcements aside, go check that stuff out. Let us know how you feel. Everything else, gspn.info. We've got some Bucks news to discuss and one part of the offseason simulator game that we announced right now is the wild card section. So later on in the pod, we're going to talk about some semi-unrealistic, pretty unrealistic wild card options that could technically be available to the Bucks in free agency that I think fans are pretty excited about. Well, some of them. I don't think fans are pretty excited about all of them, but who knows? That's why we wanted to do the game to see how people felt. But let's start with some news. I think the most pressing and exciting item over the last few days since we recorded last. I believe this was Saturday. I think Friday, Saturday. Sure. Whenever it was, Mark Stein, is one of his Substack columns, reported the following. Quote, Milwaukee's Bobby Portis can become a free agent this offseason if he bypasses a $4.6 million player option for 2022-23, but there is already tangible resignation from some interested teams that they won't have any shot at luring Portis away from the Bucks. The expectation already in circulation is that Portis will re-sign with Milwaukee on a multi-year deal, even if he does opt for free agency. So, that is obviously one of the two big Bucks who is slated to hit the market this offseason, along with Pat Connaughton.
Three.
Thanasis, you're going to say?
Yes.
Yeah, because saw that one coming from a mile away. But Pat already basically more or less said he wants to be back in his press openings. Bobby, I think, was very complimentary, but less solid, less signed, sealed, delivered. But this sounds like of course, it's not tampering, but
yeah, I was gonna say, can we not let the Bucks lose any more draft assets?
That would be good. Yeah, we are down a 2025 second rounder, I believe, from Indiana, was it? Or so? No, I don't remember now.
No, it's this year's.
Yeah, it's this year's. You're right. And there's 2 in a row gone. Yeah, Miami lost the very next pick. So if you're sitting at 58 or 59 or whatever it is, you get 2 spots higher. It's a big deal.
It's just baffling to me. I've said it before. I'm not going to belabor this point again. But yes, no tampering, please, from the Milwaukee Bucks. But Ty, this is significant news, like you mentioned. It's also not something we've really heard in the past if it wasn't going to happen. Because we've seen this before with guys like Chris Middleton. The reporting even before free agency was, it's likely that he's going to stay. There was no such reporting with PJ Tucker last offseason, and obviously they went their separate ways. So this is, like you said, it's not like signed, sealed, delivered for any of them. Please don't. Again, no tampering, please. But it does instill a bit of confidence that both Pat and Bobby are going to be back with the Bucks next season, which is good because these are their 2 of their 3 biggest free agents. You just have to maintain like a championship level team because we both believe, a lot of other people believe, this is a championship level team. I don't want to go, if Chris Middleton doesn't get hurt, whatever injuries happen, it is a championship level roster. This team can get back to the mountaintop next season if they keep their guys together and make some moves around the margins. It's very important that you keep these 2, and it looks like they will keep both Pat and Bobby.
There was actually a report from Jake Fisher last year that the Bucks were interested in re-signing PJ for 2 years, $20 million. So it's not 100%, but I do agree that typically this is a good thing. Woelfel's press box also reported this, so not great news for Jake there. Um, but what was I going to say? Yeah, it's exciting news. I think, I was re-listening. I've actually been trying to share a clip on Twitter for like 2 hours and just not able to do it. So hopefully I can do that at some point. But there's a clip from our last pod where we're talking about the Bucks' needs. If you haven't yet, go check that one out. And my number one was a 4/5 to enable Giannis at the 5. And we had a little convo in there about, can Bobby be that player? Can they do enough offensively? Can he continue to improve defensively so that Bobby Giannis 4/5 is effective enough for the Bucks and they can downsize? We know they like to play big, but it's important to be able to go small if you have to. I really think if this does end up being true and Bobby re-signs pretty quickly, it's going to have to be him, right? Like, I think I really doubt that Bobby signs and let's just assume Pat signs. At that point, outside of, which I think was pretty low on both of our boards for needs, 3 on mine, 5 on yours, a true backup center, that is the only other front court player I could see the Bucks having any interest in at that point, whether they draft a young big man or bring in somebody, either, a young player or just someone to be a backup body, much like Serge Ibaka was this year or Boogie was earlier. I don't think they're going to go after and prioritize another 4, right? Like, that's a lot of 4s between Giannis, sort of Chris, sort of Pat, Bobby, and obviously you still have Brook around who's playing a lot of minutes at the 5, none at the 4. But I just think like that's where you're at. So either, Chris or Pat steps up more and maybe both of them, maybe that's just your 3-4, or Bobby's just able to do it. But I do think that's going to be fascinating if they do keep both, because it is kind of a bet on Bobby Portis. I assume then with either draft picks or, the taxpayer mid-level, probably going guard because we saw the playmaker issues that reared their ugly head against Boston and a little bit against Chicago, honestly.
Yeah, plus you just don't have a lot of money to play with at that point. You're going to be deep into the tax if you're keeping both of these guys. So how much of your mid-level are you going to use? Do we incorporate this into the game? We might. We might have done that. But you're not going to have a lot of money to play with knowing this ownership group. You have limited assets. So if you do re-sign both Pat and Bobby, you're making a massive, massive bet on Bobby. And plus, also, like, you're not even just doing that. You're just retaining talent. Because even if both of those guys walked, it's not like you have salary cap space to just go out and sign someone. No, that's not how this works. It's like for all the people like 3 years ago, however long it was, I don't know what time is, when Chris Middleton was up for a contract. It's like, oh, we can let Chris leave, go sign X star free agent. No, that's not how that works. You're already deep over the salary cap, but you're allowed to keep these guys because you have their early bird rights in Bobby's case and their full bird rights in Pat Connaughton's case. So even if you let those guys go, it's not like you can go and combine their salary to go find someone else. No, you're just going to be left with no talent or less talent.
Yeah, and I think the other I guess issue is just roster spots. If you re-sign Pat and Bobby, let's assume Thanasis comes back. Let's just ignore trades. So Grayson and Hill, I think we'd both be fine if neither was a Buck next year, but I don't think either would get released, right? So and they're currently guaranteed spots. So let's just keep them in here. Giannis, Chris, Drew, Brook is 4. Grayson, Pat, Bobby is 7. Hill 8. Thanasis 9. Let's just assume they keep their non-guarantee guys because they like them. That's 11 between Tuck and Luca Vildoza. If you bring back Javon Carter, then you're up to 12. If you draft a player, that's 13. If you sign Mamu, that's 14. And I think, who knows what'll happen there. But safe assumption that the Bucks probably enter the year at least with 14 rostered players. That's the amount you need to have under the CBA. You can have 15, 16 counting the 2 ways, but 14 NBA roster players because it's cheaper. And quite honestly, this isn't one I'm going to get up in arms about. I don't need them to roster a 15th guy. It's fine, but you're already getting kind of close for now.
Like at the start of the season.
Yes. Buyouts and everything that can change. But, you're already getting close to that 14 number, depending on a couple things that could go either way. It's just, you're really, and that I didn't even include any free agent signings in that. So even if you say, I don't want to roster one of Mamu, Tuck, Vildoza, Carter, whatever, you're still, every player you sign then goes back toward that to your 14 number. So yeah, I think
you can have 15 spots.
You kind of, I'm just going to assume 14.
Okay.
I'm just going to go off of the basis of 14. But Bobby is, and listen, he's earned it, right? I mean, he was great in the finals. He was great in the championship run.
He was great this postseason.
He had an awesome regular season.
He was good this postseason. He was the second best Bucks big in the postseason.
Nah, I don't think so.
I think so.
I think he was third. You counting Giannis?
Yeah.
Giannis, Brook, Bobby. I think Brook was better.
I had Brook and Giannis weren't the best big tandem during the playoffs. It was Giannis and Bobby.
I mean, I think Brook looks worse in retrospect because Bud is just like, hey, just drop off Grant Williams and YOLO. And I just don't know if I blame Brook for that.
Sure, but like just pure production value, it was Giannis and Bobby.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Even net rating and everything.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I think, after Game 7, the net rating's going to be pretty damn skewed. But I think the Bucks starters' net rating is really bad anyway. Like, I think Giannis ends up with a for him, poorish net rating after the series in total. But, I mean, I think Brook was more effective offensively, it felt, even for most of that series. And defensively, he got put out of position. But when he is in the paint, we know what he does there. So I'd give him an edge. Whatever, it's close. But I think the real issue was, for Bobby, the offensive ineffectiveness. So I think that's going to be, continuing to improve on defense is great. Clearly, he's never going to be PJ Tucker on that end. But I think he's got to be, next time the Bucks are in one of these tough series, hopefully with all of their players, but you never know. The NBA is an injury-prone league. Can he, or he has to, I should say, have more of a consistent offensive impact? So whether that's shooting more threes with less hesitation, maybe getting to the rim more or closer to the rim more and settling less for those longer mid-range shots. I do think that's going to be really important as we go forward here with Bobby Portis seemingly coming back to the Bucks, which is, again, it's awesome news. I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but fresh off of the loss to the Celtics, there were just some things that need to be improved upon there for Bobby and the Bucks to get back to where they were 2 years ago and obviously where they want to be.
True. And let's say all else fails, it's a tradable contract.
Yeah, almost certainly. It's impossible for the Bucks to overpay him based on the salary constraints. We're guessing it's like 11-ish million a year, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, 11, 12, something.
Yeah, it can go up a little bit usually with year over year, but it's not going to be a wild amount. And, it's probably going to look like an underpay no matter what, which, it's a solid chance, even though he could make actual max if in a much different world. I think there's a solid chance Pat's contract ends up being the same.
Yeah, around there. But our second piece of news,
yes,
is that the Bucks lost an assistant coach. Darvin
lead.
Ham has been announced as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. He had his press conference on Monday. Again, this has all happened since we last recorded, so forgive us. We know this is old news at this point. But yeah. Congratulations to Dar. I'm so glad he finally got an opportunity to be a head coach. Yeah. He's been in interview cycles for, it feels like, forever now. He's always been a guy who's been labeled as next man up, but you actually have to get that next man up opportunity. And he now has it with the most premier franchise in the league.
Yeah, I'm glad you put it that way because there is a lot of, and I think this is especially, Bucks fans are always going to have a bias against teams like the Lakers, and I get it. If when the Bucks wallowed in agony for 5 years, that was just like the 2000 or like the 90s, and then the latter part of the 2000s, and then like the 2010s, and there was never a LeBron who just showed up because of the city that the Bucks are based in, and that will never happen.
Yes,
yeah. But I keep seeing this sentiment that is essentially, is it even good? Is it bad that Darvin got this shot because it's the Lakers and they're dysfunctional and he's got a uncoachable LeBron and everything else? And outside of, and I always forget the guy's name now, but the first Cavs coach when he came back, like Mike Brown just got a job. Spoelstra's seen as one of the best coaches in the league. I think Vogel's going to be second in line to get a job.
David Blatt,
thank you. He just went back to Europe, which is fine. But Vogel now is one of the most sought-after hires. I'm sure he will be next time. Probably number 2 after someone we're going to touch on in a second. And who am I forgetting? Oh, Ty Lue is the Clippers coach and highly regarded. So it's not like the guys who have coached LeBron have become like jokes or laughingstocks around the league. And the Lakers' job is difficult. It's not an ideal roster. It sounds like there's a chance they run it back with Russ, which, quite frankly, is hilarious. But
it's also they're also hamstrung by Russ in that it's hard to move.
if only they weren't foisted that contract upon them by the league and no fault of their own. Maybe don't trade for the guy when it's that obvious. But I digress. This isn't a Rob Pelinka thing. This is a Darvin Ham thing. And I think this is a good call for the Lakers. I think it's a great job for Darvin Ham. Even if they don't win a championship, you're still going to have a lot of eyes on you. And it sounds like he's taking the right approach from the jump. No nonsense. He's saying everyone needs to buy in on defense, including the stars. Sounds like he wants to play a modern 4-out system. I'm sure the dunker spot is going to be worked in, as Eric Name pointed out on Twitter today, Monday, as we record. So I think he's going to look great there. I think it's going to be nothing but good for him. And I would imagine even if he's not the coach of the Lakers for 5, 10 years, whatever, which 10 years just really doesn't happen, even 5 years, I think he'll be in a good spot to, for this to be the first step in his head coaching journey. I don't think this is a graveyard. I think there's real upward mobility here. I mean, look at Frank Vogel is now regarded as like a championship level coach. He was not.
He is.
He is. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't think it's bad that he gets to coach LeBron and AD and yes, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, it's just you can't the stage is there so you don't mess up. That's the issue here, but I don't really have any worries about Darvin messing it up with this team. The only thing that could go wrong is a personality mesh errors or whatever, but that's not on him. That's on the roster. That's on Rob Pelinka.
And I think, too, even though Darvin wasn't, an all-star, I think the fact that he played is going to help a lot there. LeBron was excited on Twitter when the hire was announced.
He played against LeBron.
He did play against LeBron. And I think Darvin is the kind of played in the league, still a big, strong guy. I'm still not over the fact that he just picked up Bobby Portis, like me picking up my 5-pound dog Sophie off of the couch. That's crazy. And I think he's got an imposing demeanor. He had some awesome quotes today about what he's been through and the fact that there's no fear in him when it comes to coaching. I think he is the kind of guy who can, even as a rookie head coach, come in and have the respect of someone like LeBron, which is, not something you can say about every coach in the league.
For sure. Wishing Darvin the best. The Bud coaching tree just keeps prospering. It's all technically the Pop coaching tree, isn't it?
It is, but it's also that is the Bud coaching tree, as is the newly single, ready to mingle, Quinn Snyder, coach of the Utah Jazz, steps down. Donovan Mitchell is now questioning his extension, and I think a lot of Bucks fans would probably immediately jump to Mitchell and go, "Oh, can the Bucks get Donovan Mitchell?" I don't care about that. The answer is no. I don't care about that.
Say never.
Stop. Is he going to get bought out, never. Rohan?
Tradable salary time.
Oh my
Tradable salary.
Tyler Hero, enjoy Utah. No, I think they're gonna love him there. But Quinn Snyder is probably the premier coach on the market now. I mean, Frank Vogel I think is up there, but Snyder was the guy I was alluding to earlier as number one on the available coaches list. Right? Everyone wants to hire Quinn Snyder, assuming, as I think McMahon and Windhorst said, and this to me reads like something they just threw out. Windhorst will just throw something out there and people think it's reporting. I feel like this is not reporting, but apparently they said there are some teams who would think about firing their coaches and just hiring him. I'd be pretty surprised by that. Unless they were really close anyway to firing their coach.
Who are the teams you think would do that? The
Kings.
Kings. Oh, the Kings would do that.
Yeah, they hired Mike Brown a week ago, but they would totally do that. But here's the issue.
Charlotte hasn't hired a coach yet.
No, but they are the one opening besides Utah. But they've gone through an extensive interview process, and both of their finalists are meeting with Jordan, who's going to make the final decision, like this week. So it's certainly possible.
I forgot Jordan was the owner.
Yeah.
I was like, why is
the reason that their job is still open is because Jordan was out of the country, just like doing Michael Jordan stuff. And he couldn't meet with them. And he's not going to do it over Zoom. He's got to smoke a cigar in their face. Yeah.
That's so funny to me. I can't believe, for a second, I just had this moment of blank. Like, I obviously know that Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Hornets, but it's just like they have to meet with Jordan. I was like, what?
So, but Mike D'Antoni and Kenny Atkinson, I think Atkinson would be a great hire there. D'Antoni, I don't know, I guess.
But fun.
Yeah, does Charlotte need more offense? Is that you look at the Hornets, you say, hey, do they really need offense? No, they need a defense. Mike D'Antoni better find whoever the coach's name who was with him in Houston. I don't remember now.
What's his name?
He retired, I think, to be with his family, and then they brought him back, and I think he retired again. But whatever. But
they brought him back once they traded away Clint Capella and had no center. He's like, help us play defense, please.
That's exactly it. It was like, so what do we do here?
Jeff Bzdelik.
Yes, Jeff Bzdelik. Thank you. Assuming they can't get him to unretire for like the fifth time. I don't know if that's the move. I like Atkinson's development ability he's shown with Brooklyn. But I think all this to say, I mean, those are not two slouch candidates, right? So it's certainly possible that Charlotte kind of puts that on hold and gets Quinn in the building if he wants to coach there, which certainly is not a guarantee. LaMelo is fun. I don't know if that makes that in Charlotte a prime coaching job or not. I suppose it's the one that's out there. But the reporting, the speculation, I should say, is that Snyder will take a year, which would make sense. Could do some broadcasting, whatever else.
Abroad.
Huh?
Take a summer abroad.
Yeah, that would be a very Popovich tree thing to do. Or there is a lead assistant chair available in Milwaukee. And as I was researching today, I knew there was somewhat of a relationship between Bud and Snyder. Snyder was an assistant on Bud's staff. They also worked together in San Antonio. They've said some very nice things about each other, have a high opinion of each other.
He's the first one off the Bud tree.
Yes, and it's going to be the best probably for a little while.
Or was he first or was Brett Brown first? One of the two.
Oh, you're right. Wow, it's a really good tree. Oh, it's a kind of good tree.
I think Brett Brown got done dirty.
It's pretty impressive, though. I agree, and I think he's a pretty good coach. And he's like, we'll see how Darvin goes, but is probably going to slate in at 4th out of 4, unless we're forgetting one.
Kenny Atkinson.
Oh, I forgot about Kenny. God, but Bud's tree is wild already. And Charles Lee probably will make it 6 or 7 or however many, and hopefully by next.
Because he's one of the candidates for Utah.
Oh, yeah, could be this year. I forgot Utah now is to fill theirs, but otherwise I assume Charles Lee will be lead assistant unless Quinn Snyder wants to do it. And there's a lot of people on Twitter where I floated this idea who are mad about this, saying that's disrespectful. You know, Quinn Snyder is the best option in the market. The issue is there's no market. Assuming that Charlotte hires one of their 2 guys, it's just Utah. And, you know, could he take a year off? Sure, why not? If he wants to coach, if he wants to hang out with Bud, refresh, or just be a consultant. Win a title? Yeah, win a title potentially. Probably again.
Yeah,
I'm guessing he's got some from San Antonio. I just assume they all do. But I think that would be awesome, and I think the Bucks coaching staff could really use someone with that offensive pedigree, which is really what Snyder is known for, I think. Coming in and refreshing some of the sets. The Jazz were first in offense this last year, despite there being so many excellent offensive teams, with Rudy Gobert as their guy moving to the rim. Imagine now an offense that was first with Rudy Gobert being the role man. Now put in Giannis. It could be 0th if Quinn Snyder is helping the offense. And listen, it would be a 1-year thing. He's not going to do this for the long haul. He's going to go get another head coaching job. But I think it could be an awesome year that helps the Bucks. So that is my wild card coach. We're going to talk about wild card players. There's my wild card assistant coach. That's how in the weeds I am.
I like that. I think it could be perfect. He also has not won an NBA title, so that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be good. That would be really cool.
Yeah. He also never worked with the Spurs.
Oh, he was just Hawks?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought there was something about Summer League where he's with the Spurs. I was just reading about.
Maybe it was Summer League. I don't know, but he's never worked with the San Antonio Spurs at the NBA level.
Oh, well, never mind on that then. So yeah, come get the first title, Quinn Snyder.
But yeah, I agree. He would be perfect. He would be a great, just a 1 year sort of, hey, let's have some fun here. Reunite with Bud. It would be, it'd be a good time. It'd be a good time. He's my wild card pick as a assistant coach too. So I don't know.
You know what it was?
What?
He was the head coach of the Austin Toros for 3 years.
Oh, true.
Oh, but they weren't even purchased by the Spurs yet. Now I just have no idea. Oh, no. They were acquired in 2000. Never mind. Yeah, they were. Okay, so that's he wasn't with the Spurs.
He was in the Spurs organization.
Yes, there it is. Okay. So that makes sense why it'd be Summer League then. A lot of Summer League teams, staffs, if not head coaches, come from the G League ranks. So there we go.
He's also I'm not sure if you mentioned this. He's one of the rumored successors to Greg Popovich.
Yes. Who? I wonder how long he's going to keep doing that.
I don't know. I'd give it 2 years. I mean, he's the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, for now. Bud OTW.
Yeah, for now. Bud's OTW, coming,
baby. People are going to be mad about that. Okay. Anything else on Quinn, or should we talk about wild cards?
Quinn?
Hey, it rhymes with chinny chin chin. Do you know about nice. Chinny chin chin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
But wild card players. So this is, like you mentioned earlier, one of the sections in our game. Again, gspn.info. It's linked right there. It is just wild speculation. Like, imagine the Bucks could get this player at a reasonable cost. Who would you pick? Sort of thing. This is right up my alley because I love this sort of stuff, just wild speculation. But Ty, do you want to start us off here?
I do. So, do you want to just go through one by one, or should we rank them?
Let's go through one by one.
Okay, so starting off, as one would read in English, from the top left to right and down from there. The first option staring you in the face is probably my favorite, John Wall. So all of these players are... So Mo Bamba is a restricted... Oh, now I'd said another one. They can all hit free agency. 3 of them are free agents. 2 would have to be bought out. John Wall, the most likely, I think, to be bought out. Has not played in a year, sat out last year, did also not play the year before that, gruesomely on Basketball Reference for that season. The season is listed as did not play, injury, left heel, Achilles infection. Ooh, that was 2 years ago. This last year, though, just did not play, sat out, which you don't see that often these days on B-Ball Ref. But in between there, despite, coming off the injury, only his age 30 season somehow, which is pretty wild. 20.6 points, 6.9 assists, 3.2 rebounds, shot 40% from the field, but 45% from 2, was like 31% from 3. Never has really been a consistent 3-point shooter. But I think, your number one need for the Bucks was someone who can dribble. On our needs pod, John Wall can dribble. If the shot's not going in, he can dribble real well. And I've heard he looks very good. Obviously, we haven't seen it. People have seen him work out. I think he's ready to play. I don't assume that he's going to look really rusty. I think this would be like a massive move if the Bucks were able to snag John Wall on a vet min or whatever.
Yes, and I'm assuming it would be a vet min because he's getting bought out for like a $45 million player option. So you can't be too greedy, John. Like 45 mil is a lot of money.
I've got to check, but I think it actually doesn't matter to him because it gets offset.
It gets offset anyway.
Yeah, so it's like he makes 45 mil either way. So why not only sign for a vet min, which also helps the Bucks? And I mean, really, we're getting just outrageous now, but could still use the TPMLE on a different free agent as well, which that's like, geez, if they get someone else we're even a little bit excited about. I shouldn't say that. I think we'll get a little bit excited over everyone. But if they get another player who's actually good in John Wall, that would be like a ridiculous offseason.
No, John Wall as your backup point guard. Let's be clear here. He is coming off the bench. He is going to be in spot minutes. He is not going to be a featured piece on this team. Having John Wall be that guy would be incredible. Listen, I know everyone wants to hate on John Wall. Sure, he can't be a star. The Bucks would not ask him to be a star. They don't need him to be a star. They need him to be an auxiliary piece. And if your auxiliary piece is John Wall, that would be incredible. He is definitely someone who can dribble. He is someone who can get to the rim. His finishing numbers have gone down a bit, but he can get to his spots. He can be a pull-up mid-range shooter. He's another creator. He'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think it'd be ideal. And honestly, I know you're saying backup. I could see eventually, if he looks good, that John Wall being a starter. And I think it's weird for sure. But ultimately, I think it could be a very good thing if Drew and Chris, and even Giannis a little bit, did a little bit less initiating and a little bit more play finishing.
My worry there is introducing like a shaky shooter.
Yeah.
In there. I could see him close some lineups. I just don't think he'd be a starter.
I have to see how he plays. I mean, I think if he's still doing 21-7, I just don't know how long you can keep a guy like that on the bench, quite honestly.
He'd be sixth man of the year.
If it were a condition that he has to start to sign, but he looks good, would you sign him?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
He looks good. Yeah, sure.
But I mean, you're not going to know. I mean, he looks good in warm-ups, right? Like he works out and he looks good is what I mean.
True. That's true. Oh, we don't have Darvin Ham to run through the workouts anymore like they did with Boogie.
Charles Lee, it's your time, man.
I mean, he is the guy who works with the guards. Darvin did work with the bigs.
Perfect time to sign John Wall.
Assuming Charles Lee is still on the staff.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, hopefully not, but that is then we really need Quinn Snyder to come through.
Yeah. Next up on the list.
Well, let's skip to the one I spoiled.
Okay. Mo Bamba.
So he is a restricted free agent. Correct? Yes. So that makes this probably maybe the unlikeliest option.
I see. Here's the thing, though. I don't think Orlando's going to keep him.
I think probably not, because it seems like they have their center of the future already on the roster, and it's not Mo Bamba. But I think...
And the number 1 overall pick, who's going to be a big.
Yeah, a big of some sort, right? That's a good point. Even if he's a forward, he's going to be like 6'10", or 7'12" if it's Chet. But on the other hand, I mean, if you're Orlando and you have Mo Bamba who's restricted and he signs an offer sheet that is like 2 years, $12 million, do you not just match out of like very low level asset management?
You match and then sign and trade.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, follow what the Bucks did with Delhi.
Oh, God.
Yeah, remember that?
Well, no, that was... Didn't they just sign him?
No, there was a sign and trade with the Cavs.
Oh, did they work out a sign and trade?
Yep.
Oh. It's a little different because I think you'd rather have Mo Bamba on 2 for 12. I think right away everyone was like, yeah, the Cavs are not paying that contract.
LeBron immediately tweeted, good luck in Milwaukee,
funny.
man.
It's so funny. They had 3 days to match. I think it's the least likely just because, I mean, the Bucks offer is going to be so tiny. And I just assume, like, somebody is going to miss out on DeAndre Ayton and not want Yusuf Nurkic and then just go, oh, I guess we'll offer 3 years, $30 million for Mo Bamba and have ourselves a nice center for 3 years. But whatever. It's on the list. It's theoretically possible.
It's a wild card.
It's a wild card. Yeah. So I think you're higher on him than me. I like Mo Bamba. Don't get me wrong. I think you're higher.
He could be the center of the future.
He
definitely could be. Great defender, great rim protector, has shown touch with the ball. He's young, he's fast, he's athletic. He's just a guy who can replicate some of the things that Brook Lopez does and would be a perfect fit next to Giannis. Like, try to score on it. Like, for all of we laud about Brook's defensive abilities, which we should, he is a great defender. He's a great defender in the paint. Mo Bamba is capable of going out on the perimeter and holding his own. You can fully switch 1 through 5 with Mo Bamba on the floor. And if you get him as a free agent, you can develop him, you can get his bird rights. He can be the center of the future.
Also, last season, he shot 38.1% from 3, which is significantly higher than any Brook Lopez season. And again, Brook also had a year where he was nearly 37% and has not gotten back there since. So you never know, how real one good shooting year is. But I mean, if that continues to be around 38%, then you're talking about both ends being able to play truly 5 out, which around Giannis, certainly a tantalizing thought.
5 out while being a 7+ footer.
Yeah, having two guys who are roughly 7 feet, but also playing 5 out. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to watch.
I wish it could happen.
I know. I think Wall is more likely.
Which is crazy.
I mean, why not buy him out at this point if you're Houston? Unless you can get the next guy, I don't know, a different guy in the list and some draft capital from a different team.
I don't think any team is trading for John Wall.
I think one team could trade for John Wall. Exactly one team.
Okay. Yes, it is one team. It is Darvin Ham's new team. It is the Lakers.
Yeah, we're skipping all over the list now. This is not the order that's in the app, but Russell Westbrook is also on our list because he's another $45 million point guard who, quite frankly, is just not worth $45 million to his current team, and his current team probably better. Well, the Rockets aren't better without John Wall, I don't think. They just don't care because they're bad and they're rebuilding, and he's gone after this year anyway, and they want Kevin Porter and Jalen Green and whoever they draft to handle the ball. That's different. Lakers trying to win a championship, clearly better without Russ, who does not fit with LeBron or Anthony Davis, or most good teams. I would actually be pissed if Russ got bought out and the Bucks signed him. It's bad. It would be very bad.
You didn't have to say most good teams.
Well, I think I did. Bad defender. Awful defender.
You're not wrong.
Who cannot shoot.
You're not wrong.
Where is the appeal?
You're not wrong. It's just funny.
I mean, I don't relish this. I don't like to go after a guy. But I just think if you're Russ, you kind of just need a team built around you that's like really built around you for his skill set, his usage, his insistence on never moving off of the ball on either end of the court ever. They said, is Russ gonna be a pick and roller? Is he gonna cut? No, he never does, and he didn't in LA.
What are the odds on Darvin and Russ fighting?
Low. I think low.
Russ would be scared.
No, I think there's going to be mutual respect. I don't know how much Russ will play in some games, but I think there'll be a mutual respect. But we saw an OKC tried to build around him for a long time after KD left, and they got MVP candidate Paul George there, and it still was like
Melo when he was still relevant.
Yeah, and it was like and Oladipo when Oladipo became good, and it was like
no, he became good after.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Not a coincidence there, I think. Although Paul George was really good with Russ. But they were a first round out every year. They never accomplished anything except Russ's MVP. Like, I just don't see...
They got outplayed by Jingles.
He did. I just don't see the upside at this point.
Yeah, I'm out.
If I was an expansion team, or just like... My pitch for a while was the Knicks should go get him, just because... Maybe you can get some shine on his name, and he will. He'll make a bad team better. I mean, I'm not saying he's a terrible player. If you put Russ on this year's Thunder, that's kind of funny, or the Magic or whoever, they're probably better to some extent, but I just don't think he's a ceiling raiser. I think he's a floor raiser. Bucks floor is pretty good, so it's an option. I hope no one picks this in the game, and I would actually be upset. He's the only player on this list where I don't even want him on the team.
Yeah, I'd be upset too. I'd be very upset.
There are 20% of people listening to this are like throwing their phone right now or watching on YouTube. Hello to our YouTube viewers.
And maybe still throwing their phone.
Yeah. They can still throw the phone.
Next up on the list, Victor Oladipo. Well, he had a bit of a resurgence in the playoffs this season with Miami. After not playing for the majority of the season, only coming back at the end of the season.
He has played 12 games. Oh, no. He played 12 games with Miami total over the last 2 years. He played 33 games last year, but 8 games this year in the regular season.
Yeah. You part of the James Harden trade to Brooklyn somehow. Wild. But We were high on him last free agency. We were like, yeah, if you're going to take a flyer on someone, take a flyer on Oladipo. I think we were proven right there based
Yeah,
on what he did during Miami's postseason run.
I would agree.
Didn't get a lot of regular season run, as I mentioned. He was injured, but once he came back, he was able to be a defensive menace while also creating his own shot, creating some offensive juice as well. I still believe if he was the starting two for the Bucks, they would be incredible
Yeah.
based on what they saw.
I think you do kind of run into the same issue with Wall there. The shot is I think
Oladipo.
gone.
I trust Oladipo's shot better. Trust him more, I should say.
His bigger sample size was playoffs versus regular season, and it really you look at his slash line, you're like, oh man, he just didn't have it. Shot 36% from the field. No, he actually shot a career high in the playoffs, 44.6% from two, but on the other end, a near career low 27% from three on 4 attempts per game. Probably should have just stopped shooting at a certain point. I think it's a question mark for either. I think both are.
I think Oladipo is, well, one, he's younger.
Yeah, he's
and
30.
two, he's a way better defender.
He just turned 30 in May.
Wait, Oladipo?
Yeah.
What? They're the same age?
No. The Walls was a couple years ago
Oh, okay.
when he turned 30, I think.
I was like, there's no way. No, yeah, John Wall's 31.
It's pretty close.
He's going to be 32 in September.
Less than 2 years difference. I would have thought it was more.
Yeah, same. I would have thought it's like 5.
I mean, John Wall was drafted in 2010 and has pretty much been a star the whole time versus Oladipo 3 years later, who less of a star the whole time, although certainly at a high peak.
Yes, for sure. All NBA peak.
Yeah.
I believe.
But yeah, even without hitting threes, 10 points on creating his own looks from two, really strong perimeter defense.
It was the Heat's only offensive points.
The Heat really, if thought the Bucks injury luck was bad, the Heat were like just out of guys.
Yeah, plus just no offense whatsoever. Like once you remove Tyler Hero from the equation, it's scraps.
I think.
And they still almost won the series.
Yeah, I look at what defense can do, and honestly, like someone who's been tortured by Kyle Lowry, it was just tough to see the state he was in. Just clearly didn't have injury wise. I think he'll probably look better next year, but that was hard. But yeah, Oladipo potential. I think they want to keep him. We'll see what happens. But that would be again. I think third on the excitement list are the ones we've gone through. But I'd be really excited about it.
Same. I'd say he's probably second so far.
You got him above Wall, below Bamba?
Yes.
I see the vision with Bamba. I just don't know if I fully trust it. And I know it's the youth is a huge deal. I don't know.
Hey, you're all in on drafting a center. Why not get a young, talented center?
That might be part of it, yeah.
Last guy on the list here, TJ Warren.
This is a really interesting one.
This is the ultimate like flyer of flyers because, I mean, I guess with John Wall too, but we haven't seen this guy play since the bubble.
I think this is more of a flyer actually because Wall is healthy. We know he's healthy. Like he's been in runs, he's been in practices. I know it's not the same as seeing games. He
wanted to play last season. Houston didn't want him to start.
Yes, it's a little bit. He didn't want to play that bad, but he wanted to play. And he was able to play. TJ Warren, I think a little bit of this is everyone knew what was up with the Pacers for pretty much the whole year. You know, maybe if things are different, he plays by the end of the season. Who knows? But he didn't, and he's dealt with a lot of really serious injuries. If you look at his games played year over year, 40, 47, 66, 65, 43, 67, 4, and then 0. So just not a lot of healthy seasons, but peak TJ Warren is an all bubble guy who is an absolute bucket, a flamethrower. Just, unfortunately has not been able to play. And it's certainly
I apologize.
wild card.
I said he hasn't played since the bubble. He has played 4 games since the bubble.
Played last year, 4 games, yeah.
Essentially not since the bubble.
How crazy is it that he plays 4 games and is not able to play since then and is clearly not right? In those 4 games, still averaged 15 points a game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's bucket stuff.
There was also that weird story with him and Nate Bjorkgren at the time.
Yeah. Odd stuff happening with TJ Warren.
Yeah. But This guy was dropping like 50 in the bubble. Again, Bucks fans know that the bubble has been it's an experience. It's an experience to say the least. Who knows what's true or not in there? A lot of 50 bombs dropped in the bubble. But there's no denying the talent that TJ Warren has. If you want to slot a guy in, how tall is he? 6'8" is just like a big forward, big wing. Just another guy. If you want to slide Chris up, you want to play Warren at the 4, Giannis at the 5, you could have another alternative to Giannis at the 5 lineups.
If you Google TJ Warren and go to the news tab on Google, I was trying to see if there's real updates on his injury. It's just every team blog having TJ Warren as a good free agent target because he is hitting free agency and he's just he's clearly leaving, and every team is like, yeah, let's give him a vet min and see if he can play.
Yes, because he's not going to be commanding a huge amount of money. Like we said, this is a massive risk considering his injury history and that he's played 4 games since the bubble. It's not going to be like anything where the Bucks are going to be hamstringing themselves trying to create cap space because TJ Warren wants to sign with them. No. It's going to be maybe a part of your taxpayer mid-level, or maybe a vet min. Maybe it's a prove it year. Who knows? It's going to be something affordable.
Okay, so the update is he was returned to full basketball activities from consecutive stress fractures in his left foot with 12 games to go for Indy, and then the decision was made that he just wouldn't play, which I think makes a lot of sense. Probably would only hurt his value, although I guess he could have helped it, but I doubt any. Like you said, he's not getting a max or anything. He's probably always going to sign a 1-year, 2-year prove-it deal. But certainly you winced noticeably. That is concerning injuries. But he does not turn 29 until September. So still young, one of the youngest player, the second youngest player on this list. And, if it goes right, you had a bucket or just like a scorer on your list of needs. TJ Warren off the bench is definitely that.
He is. He is definitely a bench scorer for sure. That would be perfect. I think let's do our final rankings here.
Yeah.
I will say my number 1, my top is Mo Bamba.
Mine is John Wall.
Okay, my number 2 is TJ Warren.
Wow. Whoa, you're a lot higher on TJ Warren than me. I think this is going to get complicated. Here's my list. Wall, Bamba, Oladipo, Warren, Westbrook.
Okay. And mine is, what is it? It's Bamba, Warren, Oladipo, Wall, Westbrook.
So the ones we disagree about the most are Warren and Wall. We predictably both have Russell Westbrook last. And
who
then,
Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? And Mo Bamba's top 2 for both of us. Interesting. So I guess I am the John Wall optimist here. I see the vision with Warren.
I will say they're all super close. They're very close.
Except for
Westbrook and Bamba. Those are my clear last and first. Otherwise, the rest of the guys are kind of bunched up.
My 1, 2, 3 are close. Wall, Bamba, Oladipo. I'd be pretty happy with all. 1 and 2, some distance, then 3. I gotta say then 3, 4. I'd be happier about Oladipo than Warren just because we just don't know what we're going to get with TJ Warren, and we just don't know if we can trust it. And I think
we could say the same about Oladipo theoretically.
You could, but we've seen more recently.
You're right.
Yeah. There's certainly, I think, a significant injury risk with Oladipo and Warren. That's kind of their commonality. Wall, it's just like, is he washed yet? Or how washed? I think how washed is he? He's washed to a certain degree. He's not, I don't think, ever going to be an all-star again. But, how much can he give you? Can he give you 18 and 6, something like that, or not? I think yes. That's why I have him first, just because I think...
You think John Wall's giving 18 and 6 on the Bucks?
Yeah. He's really good.
He was really good.
It was at one regular season before this. 20 and 7. Who was he passing to?
But also, he's going to be so low on the pecking order.
For how long?
Tie.
I'm not saying he's better than any of their big three. I'm saying a point guard like that.
Okay.
I don't know how long you keep the ball out of his hands.
Minimum fourth.
This is similar to the Batman Robin stuff. I don't think he's better than any of those players. Chris Giannis, Drew, obviously. What I'm saying is I think he could just end up with the ball a lot because he's going to do some awesome stuff with it.
Okay, you are really riding high on
really high on John Wall in the Bucks. What did I say? 18, not 18. Let's say
it's an 18-6.
Let's say no.
The Bucks would have 4 guys averaging 18.
I'll say 15-8.
15-8.
15. I think 15-8 would be very doable. Look at the players he'd have around him. The 15 would be harder.
Exactly.
Well, that's fine. It's 10-8. It's still awesome. You think 10-8? You think 8 assists for John Wall in the Bucks is unrealistic?
Yes.
What are you going to do about the Wall Giannis pick and roll with Chris in the corner and then Drew behind and whoever else on the court? Drop, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. Drop and suck in because Chris isn't going to catch and shoot. He's going to take like 4 dribbles and then shoot. Yeah,
it's going to ruin Wall's assist total. I don't know. I just think I'm very high on the idea of somehow, and this is really the only way. I mean, I guess Westbrook would have like 40 assists on the Bucks, I think. I just don't want to see it.
Westbrook would have 0 assists on the Bucks because Bud is going to cut him.
Fair.
He's going to go up to John Horst's office. He's like, I've made this decision for you. Do something about it. Do it. Do you want to fire me? Go ahead. You're going to choose Russell Westbrook over me? Go for it.
No,
I made my decision. Russell Westbrook has been cut.
It's cheaper on the tax bill to replace Russ on a min than it is Bud. So that's an easy call for the Bucks. No, I'm really high on the idea of a truer point guard on the Bucks, and I think it could be really good for Milwaukee. And I think to a lesser extent, and obviously a much different roster, but like things were just a lot different when George Hill 2-3 years ago, whatever, was running the show. And I think while certainly depleted from a few years ago, Wall now is probably going to do more with the ball than Hill then.
That's fair.
I think it would unlock a lot for Giannis, Chris, and even Drew, although the fit there is a little bit weirder.
I just think John Wall having the ball in his hands enough to average 15-8 or whatever.
30 and 20.
What did you say? 10-8?
Let's go 12-7.
12-7. Okay,
12-7.
12-7. John Wall having the ball enough to average 12-7 is the problem.
Think about all the non-Giannis minutes throughout the season. When now you just have like John Wall and Chris and everything else. I don't know.
You're really high on John.
I think you see why he's my number 1.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But even I'm not this high on Mo Bamba.
Well, yeah, that's why I have Mo Bamba number 2. I think there's more immediate potential there with Wall.
That's true.
We'll see. Watch. They'll get him now, and it'll just be terrible. This will be the new number 37. I don't know. Man,
that's true. There is what's the word I'm looking for?
Precedent.
Precedent for it.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember
us arguing, and then next tweet we get like in an hour is going to be a Woj notification that John Wall's been bought out, and one of his preferred destinations is the Bucks.
I would cop a jersey. Expeditiously.
we'd have to at this point.
Expeditiously.
But yeah, those are our lists. I was going to say, let us know what you think. You can let us know what you think by playing the game and sharing your results. This is an option on the game. It's linked, the first link in gspn.info. Make sure you check that out. Ty, do we have anything else we need to talk about?
We do. We have Choose Your Fighter.
Yes.
It's my turn, and I didn't prepare, but I'm just going to go on the fly. So It is now summer. It's nice outside. I've gotten outside a bit. It's great. You really don't realize what kind of numbers seasonal depression can run up until it gets nice out again. So I like to get outside, and a lot of people, I like to just lounge around. That's fun. I'll do that. Go boating, whatever. I like to play. I like to do something. I'm a sporty kind of guy. I'm not good at them, but I enjoy it. So I'm going to give you 3 sport options for this episode's Choose Your Fighter. We're not going to do basketball. One, it's better inside. I hoop outside almost exclusively. I don't have access, but I think it's better inside, and it's just too obvious for a basketball podcast. So we're going to go a different direction. The three options are golf, tennis, and I'm trying to think of a good third one that's like pretty broadly accessible, which I haven't really done. A football.
Football, okay.
Golf, tennis, football. Outside sports for the summertime, choose your fighter.
This one's pretty easy for me.
Okay.
It's tennis first.
Okay.
It is football second, and it's golf third.
You're not a golfer. See, I think a lot of people will just default golf who are golfers, but which I probably will go that way. I do like tennis.
This weekend, didn't you?
I did golf. Me and Newmark, 9 holes. Don't ask me how I shot. Wasn't good.
How'd you shoot?
First round of the year is how I shot. I think I did a 61 on 9.
I don't even know if that's good.
No, it's not. Like in the 50s is pretty good for me. In the 40s would be. I've never shot in the 40s. I'm not very good, but I was 61. I was real close to 50s, and my short game is really out of whack. But that's the thing about golf. You suck at golf, and you're still like, yeah, I love golf. No other sport. If I was bad at football for 5 years, I wouldn't be like, hey, let's go throw on a football, and I cock back a throw, and it immediately goes through my living room window. Only golf. You're like, yeah, let's keep doing it. What if you could go either way, frisbee golf or golf? Does that change your ranking at all?
Ooh, frisbee golf is fun.
Let's do that. Let's make that a variable one.
I might go frisbee golf second,
Okay, so it's not beating tennis.
No, I love tennis. I rekindled my love for tennis a few years ago. I was working in the lab over a summer, and we used to play tennis every Friday as a lab. It got competitive. We got so much better at it. Yeah. But I love tennis. I used to play a lot of tennis when I was like really, really young. But then I sort of fell off, picked it up again in college. It's fun. It's fun. I love tennis.
I picked up tennis for the first time in college. And as someone who really enjoys competing, I think it's great. I think tennis is like probably the most competitive one-on-one sport out there. I would say even up there. I think basketball is clearly up there. And I guess like fighting, if you want to say combat sports, probably number one because you're like
boxing.
Yeah, you're beating the hell out of each other. But I think tennis is right up there. Like tennis can get heated. It's a lot of fun. Great sport. I think I'll probably say golf/frisbee golf. Either one I'd put first, then tennis, and then football. I enjoy tossing around a football.
Yeah,
it's just hard. That's why I didn't include baseball. It's just hard to like. You're gonna get a group like. If you're in a league, that's one thing. I know there's a lot of great touch and flag and even tackle leagues just for friends and everything. But if you don't have access to that, you're really just 2-on-2 football is good. Playing football, playing catch, having a catch, that's fine. I think I really now that I'm old, you don't have any friends. You have like one friend, you have half a friend, whatever. If I can play a sport like golf, you can be alone, but with one other person is fine. Tennis, it's great. Football, it's like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. But, football is going to be third for me if we're doing frisbee golf. Because that's fun. I love the frisbee.
Frisbee golf is truly elite, and I think I need more around me. There's so many good parks.
I haven't gone in so long.
Oh, man. We'll have to have you up.
Go.
We'll have to go to, sadly, we missed the Udder Tuggers, but we'll have to do I can't even remember their actual name now. The Timber Rattlers. Timber Rattlers.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a Timber Rattlers game and some frisbee golf. Or maybe I'll get on there again. Who knows? But that's fun, right? Good on the fly. Choose your fighter.
It is a good on the fly choose your fighter. I've gone golfing once in my life. Went terribly. I went to a driving range last summer for the first time in a while. Went terribly.
It's really hard.
I also I don't have my own golf clubs, obviously, because I don't golf.
Yeah.
So I was using my friend's golf clubs, who's like 5-6 inches shorter than me. Just didn't work well.
I would advise if you ever actually want to get into it. It is worthwhile, but there's just like an investment of time and money. But definitely like thrift clubs. I would say that to anyone who's going to start golfing because you can go into never shop clubs at a pro shop. I mean, you can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get a nice set of irons and a couple drivers. It's like $1,000 pretty easily. Go to Goodwill, get some whatever. It's dinged up, whatever. You're learning the sport. If you really love it, upgrade your stuff later. But that would be the advice I would give you.
Solid advice.
Yeah.
It's a good choose your fighter tag.
Thank you.
Let us know what you think for that. Everyone listening, But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode of the Eurostep here on the Eurostep Podcast Network. Make sure you check out gspn.info. Make sure you check out the game. Please send us your results.
Yes.
It's going to be a ton of fun. Share it with your friends, family, show whoever you want. It's out there. We made it for you guys to enjoy. So make sure you enjoy that. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a like on YouTube. Make sure you turn notifications on for our videos. But yeah, make sure you check out the Substack, check out the merch, gspnstore.com. Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Yeah.
Pod Random, and we will talk to you next time.